With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. We begin with the day's COVID-19 test results. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reports 487 tests carried out since Friday's report. 3 are positive for COVID-19. The individuals are travelers who tested positive following routine screening. They will remain in isolation until considered recovered. There are 682 people in isolation right now. Updating the total number of COVID-19 vaccines to date, 13,609, with 716 first doses having been given to the Oriya site on Saturday, February 6th. The total number of people who've had both their first and second doses is 4,770. To date, 80% of over 70-year-olds and 70% of over 60-year-olds have received at least one dose of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Now, the vaccinations continue this week as the country works to protect the most vulnerable in our community.
Age is a leading contributor to severe COVID-19 disease and poor outcomes. Because of this clearly demonstrated fact, it is imperative that we vaccinate as many of our vulnerable persons as possible. I encourage all persons 60 years and older to come forward to get your vaccine.
HSA Chief Nursing Officer and Acting CEO Dr. Hazel Brown says if you have not yet received your first dose and are eligible, you can visit the vaccination clinic at any time it is operating to receive your vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccination program continues to administer dose 2 vaccinations for those due from Stage 1, Groups A, B, and C. Individuals receiving their second dose are reminded that the date noted on their vaccine card for the second dose, that is the earliest date in which you can receive the vaccine. Now, if you received your first dose at a district health center, you can receive your second dose at the airport should you choose to do so on your appropriate date and surname time.
The new off-site COVID vaccination clinic at the airport has proven to be a great location to administer vaccine in large numbers. The large, comfortable space and ample parking has significantly improved our efficiency and the overall experience for everyone.
Because of this, Dr. Brown tells Radio Cayman there is no need for you to come early since you won't need to wait in a line. As a reminder, the vaccination clinic previously located at the Cayman Islands Hospital is now located at Owen Roberts International Airport check-in area. By the way, face masks are required at all of the vaccination clinics, and you must bring your vaccination card showing your first vaccine in order to get your second dose. For the most up-to-date vaccination schedule, visit hsa.ky. The Elections Office says it's received a number of calls from the public about people making a house-to-house survey relating to elections, purportedly on behalf of the government. But the Elections Office says these individuals do not work for nor do they represent the Elections Office, and the survey is neither sanctioned nor authorized by the Elections Office. If you do have this type of encounter and you feel at risk, the Elections Office says you should feel free to call the police by calling 911. A cohort of new recruits is set to begin training this month. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego explains.
A UK Ministry of Defence training team is here on island, and they are currently in government's mandatory quarantine for 2 weeks.
Once they come out of quarantine, they will do training for the second cohort of 50 reservists.
His Excellency Governor Martin Roper explains basic training with this second batch of recruits is expected to begin this month and will follow the same system for training as the first cohort, all with the aim of providing Cayman with added resilience in responding to humanitarian and disaster relief.
The reservists will go through 2 weeks of very intense training, and then there'll be a passing out parade.
That will bring Cayman to 110 trained officers and reservists, which Governor Roper says puts the country in a really strong position moving forward both this year and next year. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
Inspectors head back to Right Start Daycare and Preschool to see how much progress the school has made in addressing key concerns raised during the Office of Education Standards 2019-2020 evaluation. Radio Cayman's Paul Akal has an update.
In October 2019, Right Start was judged to be weak by inspectors. And in January this year, the OES team headed back to the school for a follow-through visit focusing on the 5 recommendations that had been made at the time of the previous inspection. Since 2019, the school has made several changes to improve its physical environment and program. Chief among these were the expansion and reorganization of the physical space, improvement in self-evaluation processes, and the appointment of a non-teaching principal. In addition, collaboration among staff as well as support from external partners had resulted in a team approach to addressing key areas of curriculum planning, teaching quality, and assessment. The inspectorate gathered evidence through lesson observations and discussions with staff and parents. School documents and children's progress and attainment information were also reviewed. As Right Start Daycare and Preschool was judged to be providing a satisfactory quality of education, the preschool will be inspected in the next cycle of inspections, which start later this year. For Radio Cayman News, I am Paula Cal.
More than 740 people took advantage of government's National Enhancement Project to get some cash during these tough times. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller reports.
NICE project manager Lloyd Kellerman tells Radio Cayman the twice-yearly beautification program attracted unemployed and underemployed Caymanians and their spouses for up to 2 weeks of paid work.
We decided to undertake NICE registration last November in the districts to keep within national COVID-19 regulations, which at that time limited gatherings of more than 500 people.
Smaller work groups than usual were deployed to work with supervisors from Workforce Opportunities Residency Cayman, the Department of Environment, Public Works Department, National Roads Authority as well. Groups were also assigned to the Mosquito Research and Control Unit and the agricultural grounds, as well as clearing scrub, roadside remediation work, and clearing beaches. NICE team members tackled general maintenance work at the agricultural grounds and the refurbishment of the truck scale at the Georgetown landfill. Planning Minister the Honorable Joey Hughes says over the years, government has developed the program into a multi-agency project, which plays a pivotal role in the employment and training of Cayman's people, adding it's time to start expanding the program.
We can look to start partnering with other agencies and perhaps extend the project over longer periods of time. Use it as a training program or a second chance program, a bit of a rehabilitation or on the work training programs for some of the folks who are fully able and capable of working but for whatever reason are unable to find full-time employment.
The most recent National Enhancement Project was held between the 7th and 18th of December and again January 11th through the 22nd. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Carsley Fuller.
According to the data, of the 742 participants, 400 were men and 342 women. The majority fell between the ages of 30 and 60, and 459 had joined previous NICE projects. The Alex Panton Foundation announces its 4th annual Mental Health Symposium. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins reports.
The theme of this year's Alex Panton Foundation Annual Symposium is Youth Mental Wellness, Reflection, Recovery, and Resilience.
The pandemic has affected the youth in various ways, but the common theme is the requirement for their lives to go virtual. Those that were graduating during 2020 did so without their classmates by their side. And as we all know, graduation is normally a happy time, and they had to compromise. All that was different.
Chairperson and founder of the Alex Panton Foundation, Jane Panton, describes the toll the pandemic has taken on many.
All school children were learning in the solitude of home. The children are naturally social, and to be quickly made to isolate themselves from friends and be restricted from activities which help them flourish as individuals only increase mental distress. As adults, we have experience behind us. We've gone through difficult situations in life, whereas the youth are just learning to cope.
The symposium will explore the effects of the pandemic on youth mental wellness and their efforts to provide support through the Youth Ambassador and the Emotional Literacy Program.
Speaker is coming to talk about child anxiety and coping, and we always have a young person that has recovered from depression and anxiety or still recovering, and they give their stories. So it is an uplifting experience, and I think when you come out, you will find what I've found, because when we held the first one, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and I came away from that just feeling really good about what we were trying to do to just make the youth feel, more included, accepted in our society.
The symposium will take place Saturday, February 20th at the Ritz-Carlton Grand Cayman from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
You can find out more at alexpantonfoundation.ky. That is your latest local news on this Monday from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.